Hi, my name is Brody McKnight, and today I'll be talking about the root causes of the American Civil War. Imagine a nation on the brink of breaking apart, brothers fighting brothers, families divided, a future uncertain. What could tear a country so deeply in two? Today, we'll explore the complex web of social, economic, and political tensions that ignited the Civil War, a conflict that forever changed the United States. From the fierce debates over slavery and states' rights to the differences in economy between the North and South, I'll guide you through the causes of this pivotal moment in history. I think I'm credible to talk about this subject because I've been studying this topic for a while now, and I've researched it carefully, and I think that makes me credible enough to speak on it. The American Civil War was caused by a combination of complex social, economic, and political tensions, with the main issues centered around slavery, states' rights, and difference in economy. Today, I'll be talking about those causes. I will first talk about the topic of slavery and if it would be legal or not in the Union. Next, I will discuss the topic of states' rights and its importance to the Civil War for both sides. And last, I will talk about the economic differences between the North and South and how that helped catapult the Union into civil unrest. Now let's jump into the reasons why the conflict escalated. Slavery, states' rights, economic differences. First, I will talk about slavery and its impact on the war. Slavery was a very big moral issue, and had slavery had been outlawed in the North for some time before the Civil War broke out. And Harriet Beecher Stowe's book Uncle Tom's Cabin blew up in popularity around the time. Northerners had read it, and according to the American Battlefield Trust, Northerners felt as if their eyes had been opened to the horrors of slavery, while Southerners protested that Stowe's work was slanderous. Southern slave owners did not see their slaves as human, but more as property. Slavery was also an important economic and political issue. In 1787, the Three-Fifths Compromise was passed, only counting slaves as three-fifths of a person for purposes of taxation and representation in the government. Slaves were also the backbone of the Southern economy, doing the hard labor for plantations in the South. Cotton plantations especially enslaved thousands, bringing profit for the Southern economy, making it crucial for Southern landowners to make sure that slavery was legal for them so they can keep the profit for themselves. Now that we've talked about the issue of slavery, let's cover the issue of states' rights. The North argued that the federal government its ruling was supreme. The North wanted to stop the South's idea of spreading slavery westward as well. And Northerners believed that the federal government had more authority than local state governments. They believed that the U.S. was a single, indivisible nation. The South argued the opposite. The South argued that they had the right to decide for themselves what was best for them. According to the PBS article Causes of the Civil War, the Southern states wanted to assert their authority over the federal government so they could abolish federal laws they didn't support. Many Southern states wanted the ability to secede from the Union due to their dislike of how the federal government was running the country. Most of their dislike for the federal government came because of their stance on slavery, especially after Lincoln got into office. Finally, let's talk about the economic differences between the two sides and how it led to unrest. The North was primarily focused on industry. There's no real need for slave labor, and so the North saw it as immoral and unnecessary. In the article Challenges with Interpreting Northern Views Towards Slavery by Nick Sacco, many anti-slavery Northerners found this practice barbaric and resented slaveholder attempts to use the power of the federal government to dictate what Northerners should say about slavery. The South had a heavy focus on agriculture, especially centered around the cotton cash crop. The South was also not nearly as industrialized as the North, as well as having less people and more untapped land. Plantation owners used slavery in their farming as a way to get as much labor as possible for as little money as possible. In summary, the In summary, the American Civil War was not caused by a single issue, but by a combination of deep-rooted social, economical, and political tensions. Most significantly, the conflict over slavery and the balance of power between states and the federal government, as well as economic differences in both sides of the country. The Civil War wasn't just a battle between North and South. It was a battle over the soul of a growing nation, and its causes still teach us the importance of confronting injustice and preserving our democracy.